The topics we discuss are many.
No story too bold to talk about.
Strictly our own opinions.
But they are opinions from people like you.
Welcome to the Nake'd Podcast.
Streaming from our own office, it's your girl Norma.
Feeling a little lonely in my office now that Norma's not here. It's your DM tech guy, Alan.
Slim Scarlet will stream eventually. Hey guys, it's Keelan.
And I'll be lurking on everybody. Hey, it's Ethan.
You know who's not lurking?
Welcome back, everyone.
Hi listeners, we missed you. I hope you missed us.
I could take it or leave it.
Oh, that's rude.
God
Your
damn,
idea.
alright, fine. That's the end of the episode, guys.
Yeah, that was a good recording. Y'all have a good one.
1 minute and 40 seconds.
Hey.
New record.
Dope. Publish it. You know what's not getting published anymore? Fortnite.
Fortnite and chill or what?
No longer
Not anymore.
Fortnite and chill. Fortnite is trying to sue Apple and Google for removing their application after they snuck in a second way for you to be able to pay for their in-game currency, which violated their terms with Google and Apple.
It was pretty funny, the setup. How everything happened, it made me laugh. Like, Epic Games was just baiting
Of course they
the Play
were.
Store and Apple the whole time.
I mean, okay, so I've downloaded Fortnite not through the Google Play Store, but through the Samsung App Store. The Samsung Store version of the application already allows for you to either pay with Samsung or through Epic directly. Honestly, the fact that Apple has that kind of buffer there for them to handle payment and then dish it out to the developer after they take their cut, I was okay with that. I didn't see a problem with that. I was a longtime Apple fanboy way, way long ago in a galaxy far, far away, but I thought that they always did that right.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but the fact that it's 30% is a little extreme just to process it.
Well, they have to pay for servers somehow. I mean, it's not like they're just storing it on location, electricity free. They have to pay for maintenance.
But that was the whole thing. So they showed that you can buy the currency direct from the Epic Store for $6.99, or from the Apple Store, the exact same thing for $9.99.
So why not just make it even for both of them?
Because they were showing that, hey, you get the same product and we get the same amount of money.
Cut out the middleman. I can see why they would want to do that, but the fact that you're going to sit there and cut out your middleman when you have contracts with them and try to be sneaky about it, that's just shady business dealings. I don't want to deal with you now.
I guess they got big enough to where they don't really give a fuck anymore. They have money they can spend, so what's a lawsuit?
Well, I mean, honestly, what the loss is going to come down to is what the terminology of their contract says. If their contract says that they have to use Apple's payment procedure, they have to use Apple's payment procedure. There's no other way around it. They're just throwing away fuck you money. That's what it is. It's just fuck you money.
I think right now is not a good time to be throwing away money.
What's the benefit of not paying Fortnite directly? Because I think on Apple, anytime I make a purchase through an app store, or if I buy something DLC or whatever it is, I think I feel more secure knowing that transaction's going through Apple than some other game servers. So something like Fortnite and Epic, they're an established company, they're big enough, and I would think that they would have good security. But for smaller time developers, I wouldn't be as trusting. Just as a customer.
I agree with you. I mean, I was a small time developer at one point, and it just makes a lot more sense to use Apple's payment system as opposed to have to build your own. I mean, Epic
but they already have their own. I think the whole.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think the whole lawsuit and everything is just, it's all negotiation tactics to get that 30% down. I mean, Like, really, does Apple need? They could probably do with 10% and still pay for everything they're paying for.
Yeah, I agree. They can. Apple can definitely still make ends meet with less than 30%.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to profit too. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't profit because Apple's like the biggest company, but just business sense.
I know, but I mean, just all you're doing is taking, like, it's a microtransaction for Apple. What is it? 5 seconds of time for their robot to do it? Just to process a credit card, more or less?
Ethan, you said something earlier that kind of stuck out to me. It was, it's a negotiation tactic. I wonder if Epic already tried to go to negotiations with Apple, and Apple said no, we're sticking to our 30. And I think that's why they're shooting back. That's why I personally believe that's why they may be doing the whole 1983 ads that Apple did back then, and saying that it's a monopoly when it's a monopoly in their own store, and they're kind of in charge of that store. So you can't really say that it's a monopoly.
I think the monopoly comes into play that Google Play and Apple both have the same rates. So they're probably going after both of them to negotiate better. But, it's like a snap of the finger and you're kicked off both platforms that you can sell on. So what the hell? I mean, it was also the timing was kind of weird. Like, they did it simultaneously. Everything seemed to just go together.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Apple or Google would even budge, though, because I think it would set a precedent for other big name app that have apps on their app store to want to negotiate too with Apple. So it's like, if they cave, then they may have to. They already set that precedent for other apps to do the same, to negotiate, which might not be a bad idea.
I don't think they would cave. I mean, just because they already have these contracts, and for them to lose an app, I don't think it would hurt them enough.
Well, you're also talking, though, the number one microtransaction app on the face of the earth. I mean, Fortnite's the most popular video game on earth, and it's a free game, so that means all the revenue comes from people purchasing shit, purchasing skins,
purchasing battle passes, purchasing in-game currency. I mean, China banned it for being so addictive.
Which is funny because Epic Games is backed by Tencent Productions.
So is Discord. Yeah.
So another platform that's fighting some controversy right now, or it's finding itself in some controversy, is Netflix. I know we were all really excited about seeing the new live-action Avatar the Last Airbender, especially because the creators were behind it, and we had such a disappointment with the movie that doesn't exist.
What are you talking about, Keelan? The movie doesn't exist.
There is no movie in Boston, say.
That's what I
So
should've
this
said.
last week, the creators and the operatives at Netflix got into some disagreements, and unfortunately, the creators have now split from the production.
Do you think that has anything to do with Disney at all?
No.
No.
What's his name is now one of the lead directors on The Mandalorian.
No.
Are you talking? Wait, who are you talking about?
The one of the what's his name was the director of The Last Avatar on Netflix or on Nickelodeon. I can't remember his name offhand.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
Well, I have some program creators, Michael Dante DeMartino, Brian something, and Aaron something.
Something.
I don't want to butcher their last names. I lived that life. It sucks.
It always throws me off when I learn about Jon Favreau being a part of Star Wars and a director and a creator, just because to me he's always that rich guy from Friends.
Right.
Oh, I forgot he was in Friends. Did you also know that he created Elf?
But do you guys do you think you'll still want to see what Netflix comes out with?
I didn't grow up with Avatar the Last Airbender, and the live action that quote unquote does not exist, I saw it and I was like, oh, okay. But after watching the series with our little one, it's so good. It's really good, and I think they did leave a lot of things out. So I don't know. I mean, I know that the creators were wanting to, had left the project because they just didn't feel like they could add value to the direction that they wanted to take it, like Netflix themselves. So I don't know. I mean, it has to be pretty different for them to want to leave and just say, I'm done with this project.
I grew up with Avatar the Last Airbender, especially like in my teenage years, because it was at the time that it came out I was already a teenager, but I loved the series. I even went on to try to continue to watch Legend of Korra when it was released. And my personal thoughts on The Last Airbender and Korra. I really think that The Last Airbender was a much better storyline. It wasn't like, maybe it was an ending every season like in Legend of Korra, because they didn't know if it was going to be continued or not. But I would still want to at least give it a chance. Like, don't judge a book on its cover. Don't judge it by what you've heard. I would want to give it a chance and develop my own opinion. Kind of like what I did with the movie that doesn't exist, that is trash.
Yeah, I remember, like, I vividly remember watching the first episode of Avatar. I was on the phone with, this other kid I was in middle school. I was either starting 7th grade or 8th grade. And being in the third bedroom, excited for it to come on and watching it, and then watching it, the weeks out as it came out. And then when the movie came out, I've already been disappointed by book to movie transitions. The Vampire's Assistant. But with, the one that doesn't exist, I was excited they made it, and it did have some interesting tell points to it, but I feel like they just try to change too much. And then with this one, I'm very disheartened that the creators have left, but I think I will watch what Netflix comes out with. I just won't have as much high hopes for it as I would have, which might be a good thing, because then I could be pleasantly surprised.
That's true.
Netflix comes out with some really good shows.
So, because we're watching Legends of Korra right now, and watching it, I was just like, you know what I really want? I want to know the story about the air nomads before they were in the temples. Like, how did they get their name to be the air nomads? Because, I mean, the last season of Legend Korra, they become, like, kind of police force. Like, I guess they kind of copied Jedi in a way.
Well, they were becoming nomads again to, find more airbenders, and then, becoming a police force. Not really a police force, just a peace protector.
That's what they followed, like, the path of the Jedi. We will wander and protect the people in need.
That's a good point. I think it was really shitty at Netflix, though, they made a very public promise to the creators of Avatar, and saying that, they would share their vision, and they would have, like, a lot of, autonomy over the show. And then for the creators to leave and say, not only did that not happen, but it was also, like, a really unsupportive environment and really negative. Like, that's a little disheartening. But, I mean, you're right. Netflix does put out a lot of really great shows. I mean, for one, The Umbrella Academy, we covered that in our last episode. And that is well done. And it's written by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. So he did, he had to have, like, a producing role in it, but Netflix probably had the final say. But I think that they do really well. It's always disheartening to hear whenever, like, your creator doesn't have a hand in something, but I'll still watch it.
Did we end up talking about Umbrella Academy? I thought we had put a pin in it because Ethan and I hadn't finished it yet.
Oh, I thought we...
Oh, well, I finished it now.
Oh shit!
What are your thoughts?
Also,
So let's talk about Umbrella Academy real quick, y'all.
We talked about Curse last episode. My bad, guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
But that's a good show,
I'm
too.
Psychosis, and I'm about to kill Alan.
What?
What?
So I just want to point out that Five handling these situations is hilarious. Because, it has only been from the first of season 1 to the very end 2 weeks for him, which is crazy. And so he goes through the craziness in the first season, and then he jumps into the craziness of the second season, and he does not catch a break.
Okay, no.
He don't even get a night of sleep.
Wait a second. Before that, he worked for
Spoilers.
the handler, and then before that, he spent 45 years by himself on apocalyptic Earth with his mannequin. And this all happened one after the other. Poor Five.
Honestly, I forgot that it had only been 2 weeks for him. I keep thinking that it's been years like everyone else. But then, that sudden realization, oh, it's only been 2 weeks. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he
must
pops into
hate
season
life.
1, right? He pops into season 1, and he's like, oh, the apocalypse is going to happen in 5 days. He pops into season 2, the apocalypse is going to happen in 5 days.
Maybe it's 5.
Right?
Also, how sweet was Hazel? An old man at the beginning of
Right.
season 2. He had a happy life with the girl.
That's why I was so glad when they made his little cameo that he came back and he was happy.
Me too. I have
Because
to
fuck
say,
Cha-Cha.
seriously, fuck Cha-Cha. I was really impressed with Five. He tried to keep everybody under wraps. Diego pissed me off the most. Little Bruce Wayne motherfucker,
With his
chill.
superhero complex.
Honestly, it's because of Diego that the end of season 2 turned out that way. Only reason.
How crazy!
He should have known that, don't fuck with time. At this point, we're trying to stop an apocalypse. Let's not make things worse.
I love how he had the obsession, though.
And he just wants everything to be right. But if something happened in the past, you leave it the fuck alone. That's rule number 1 of time
Fixed
travel.
point.
I mean,
Rule number 2 is don't meet
seriously,
yourself.
I think we all read the story, The Butterfly Effect, at one point in school, right? Where, you guys remember?
If not, Ashton Kutcher makes a
Oh.
great movie.
So imagine
I understand the premise
I
of
need
it.
paper for this, but okay. So if you go back in time, time is a line. You go back, you create a new timeline, kind of like in Back to the Future. Well, because Diego was back there, continuously trying to change Kennedy's assassination, he definitely altered the future for himself.
What would you think would happen? I'm gonna change a major, a major event in the history of the fabric of time, and then I'm just gonna go back and live my life happily, like nothing happened.
Right.
Yeah, guy couldn't he could never put it together. And that's the one thing that bothered me, but that's what solidified his character. And that's why I like Diego. It just, you're a fuck up, dude.
I also think that Diego suffered a mental break in the previous season, especially with everything going around with Mom.
Yeah.
I mean, you seen his reaction, seeing real life Mom, not the robot Mom, was a little heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah. Can we talk about Klaus becoming a cult leader, though?
As expected.
Yeah, did you expect
Such an
anything else?
asshole. Nope.
No.
I like how all
like
his
this?
followers had hello goodbye on their hands. How many people are going to get that tattoo now?
Alan is.
Absolutely not. Goodbye.
Right.
He keeps
No.
saying he wants a tattoo. There you go.
I love Klaus. He's probably definitely my favorite character, mostly because, he shows up to his sister's house, there's a dead body, and he's like, cool, so we burying or burning? Klaus is ride or die. And
He's a down.
yeah. And then, of course, he has the relationship with Ben. And it's just such a pure bond.
He takes advantage of Ben, I think.
He definitely did.
I'm not saying he's a good person.
I mean, he would bury a body without hesitation.
Hey, a family member's body, or a body found in a family member's home. So there's a difference. Not just anybody.
With the revelation of the last scene of the last episode, where do you guys think this will go?
I think that Five's gonna try to jump back in time to change everything back to what should be. But it is interesting. And in that last scene with Ben and Vanya really like hit me in the heart.
That was such a sweet scene.
Just hug me.
It was very sweet. He could feel her as he went. It's just like, like ugly cry.
All right, the two siblings that didn't get to grow up with the others.
One thing about the season that kind of, like Allison, for example, she did not really talk about her kid a lot. Like, how do I get back to my kid? She was just kind of like, oh, this is my life, and I'm just going to make the best of it, which, good for you, girl. But at the same time, like, if it was me, like, I would be trying to find, you know, a way, especially if you knew that you left her in that time frame, you know? But I do have to say her character development was really great.
So your first priority would be your kid, not some strange.
Obviously. Yes. And don't get me wrong, like the work she did was really great, but it was, you know, she was just kind of like, oh, this is my life now. This is where I'm at, and I'm just gonna settle right here.
Yeah. She was there for what, the 2 years, I think.
She was 63. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Because, I mean, she doesn't know anything about time travel, so all she has is 5. That's what I never understood, is because they talk about Luther going back and waiting at the alleyway, but I think, like, I don't know, I'd figure out a way to go past that alleyway, like, every day to see if somebody else came through.
Or leave a note or something, like some type of signifier, like your emblem or your sim. But how funny was that homeless guy? Allison!
But like, yeah, like you're saying, why didn't they spray paint an umbrella on the wall or something?
Or why didn't they go back on the anniversary of them arriving there? That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Like walk by it every day and then hang out there like the full day.
You're just like, fuck 2019. It's gonna be a shit show. Like, we're just gonna do our best here, the best that we can. I mean, honestly,
Just gonna die in the past.
I mean, compared to this year of 2020, I probably would have been like, fuck that year too. I don't want to go back.
Real quick fun fact about Allison: she played Angelica on Broadway. She wasn't the original Broadway actor, but later on, she played in Hamilton.
Oh, dope.
Was she on the Disney one?
That's pretty badass.
No, not the Disney one. But if you look at some pictures that have, Blim Floating Ground, when she played, she actually had her side of her head shaved. Oh. Yeah, it's a pretty cool picture. Sorry. Moving on from the fun fact.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
No, you're good. I thought you were talking about Rugrats Angelica, and I thought, no, wait, that was like 1,000 years
Right.
ago. She must be
Let's
talking
all
about
go shave
Hamilton.
the right side of our head, or the left side of our head.
Keelan's doing the best,
Okay.
the better than any of us could. Oh, another
That's why I
fun
grew mine
fact.
out.
So you know how like every scene that Luther's in, basically he's eating something, and like when he sees Allison for the first time, he has like barbecue all over his face. Well, I read an
didn't
article
realize that.
that was intentional. Like it was actually in the graphic comic, and he was, you know how in there's like Fat Thor in Marvel because he just kind of like let himself go. That was kind of like his own trajectory too, but they didn't like cause any changes to his body because they're like, well, it's already been done, but we'll just keep this eating part. I thought that was interesting and probably smart because there would have been somebody be like, Marvel already did this. Blah, 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 blah.
I love that.
But doesn't he also have like an altered body because of the
For a living.
whole?
Yeah, I expected to see more Pogo in season 2 than we did.
Fuck yeah,
Baby Pogo gave no shits, man. He ran after you.
Baby
Fuck,
Pogo was
I see.
badass.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, why is Luther's body the same way when they came back in 2019? If Hargreaves never adopted them,
That's a good point.
Would he had not had
Separate timeline.
He's a time remnant, man.
Oh, you're right. There.
Because now we're no longer on the timeline of the Umbrella Academy. We're on the timeline of the Sparrow Academy.
Remember in one of the Futurama movies where the professor's bitching and complaining about using that time code and how the time code fragment will have to break the paradox? They're paradoxes. That didn't occur to me. Thank you, Keelan.
Will they run into when they run into Sparrow Academy universe themselves, like people they would have been?
Well,
That's
Well,
what
yeah,
we'll
'cause
see.
I would say
because
because Ben was there. He was part of the Sparrow Academy.
Yeah, so that's what we'll see because Ben was the first person they met, and then the last shot was their teenage silhouettes in the shadows. So will they meet their younger selves if they grew up in the Sparrow
I
Academy?
think he adopted different people.
I could like that. I could see that too because the whole thing about Diego's girlfriend was she was also one of them.
So he adopted different ones.
Oh yeah, Lila. Yeah, and then probably Hargreaves is like, oh my gosh, like I supposedly adopted this team of people that's worthless. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Like I wouldn't put it past Hargreaves for that at all.
Oh yeah, such a dick dad.
Yeah, because he's from the future anyway. I mean, he had a specific task and he could see they failed. So move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I don't think he was from the future.
Yeah.
The Hargreaves?
Oh no, he's from an alien world. Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Remember in the first season where they talked through like his world ending?
Oh, yeah.
And then he appears in New York in like 1920 or whatever.
And Hargreaves was like a store, an umbrella store, I think. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Time to go rewatch it.
Yeah, it is. So you know what that means.
Well, that wraps up another great episode. Thanks for joining us. Find our memes and other great content on Twitter and Instagram at OG_the nake'dpod.
Run over to our website, officialmillennials.com, and you'll find our wonderful blog, some notes here and there from others, and a link to our Patreon, where for $1 you become a patron.
What do we get out of the $1 patron?
All of Alan's love and respect.
I'm okay with that.
And
As
a
long as-
handwritten note.
No handwritten note. My handwriting's shitty. While you're on the internet, definitely hop over to our Twitch and Mixer channels. On Twitch, we're Official Millennials. On Mixer, we're Official Mills. We will be trying to do some streaming this summer, so definitely check that out. Maybe we'll have a live show, and I will be doing streaming Mondays and Thursdays over at Mixer and Twitch. My handle is PeachZ90.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find all of our episodes with a little extra fun mixed in. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, we love you.
This is an Official Millennials production.